happened, Mr. Belding? Kelly asked, concerned. Well, this weekend she was testing recipes for you guys to try. She made some sort of salmon mousse thing, and she got food poisoning. She had to be rushed to the emergency room on Saturday. The class gasped, and Mr. Belding quickly held up a hand. She's fine now, she's just a little upset. So she decided to take a leave of absence until she got her confidence back. Daisy Tyler raised her hand. But, Mr. Belding, who's going to teach the class? Her baby blue eyes were worried. Daisy took home ec very seriously. She had bashfully told the class that she was in training to become the perfect wife. Since mostly everyone in the class had taken home ec for an easy grade, at first they had all thought she was pretty lame, but Daisy took diligent notes in her perfect handwriting and willingly gave copies to whomever asked. She soon became the most popular student in class. Is the class going to be cancelled? Butch Henderson asked hopefully. He was the #1 example of a student who took home ec only for his A. But thanks to Mrs. Miniver, he was barely scraping by with a C. Mr. Belding shook his head. Sorry, Butch. I've already found a substitute. Mrs. McCracken from the arts department will be taking Mrs. Miniver's place until she recovers. Everyone exchanged pleased glances. Maisie McCracken was young and totally hip. Mr. Belding poked his head out the doorway into the hall. Then he came back in smiling, and here's Ms. McCracken. Ms. McCracken strolled in. Her orangey hair curled around her small face, and her green eyes snapped with energy. She was wearing wide black pants with platform boots and an orange sweater. Instead of a belt, a chiffon scarf was pulled through her belt loops and tied in a big bow. Hey gang, she said, waving. Thank you, Mr. Belding. I'm sure we'll all get along fine. Okay, Mr. Belding said, but he lingered by the doorway. Are you sure I can't do anything to help? I make a mean tuna casserole. We'll be fine, Miss McCracken said firmly. Thanks again. As soon as the door closed behind Mr. Belding, Miss McCracken turned to the class. Now that he's gone, I have a confession to make. I can't cook or sew to save my life. Everyone in the class laughed, except for Daisy. Her lower lip stuck out and wobbled. But what will we do? She asked. Miss Miniver was going to move on to the hors d'oeuvres this week. Miss McCracken grinned. Yeah, I hear her salmon mousse is a killer. You should thank heaven for small favors. Daisy frowned. Miss Miniver is an excellent domestic engineer, she said haughtily. There's a nice word. Mrs. McCracken boosted herself up to sit on the counter. I didn't mean any offense, Daisy. I know Miss Miniver is top-notch. I've tasted her brownies. And I'm sure she'll be coming back to teach you before the semester's over. But until then, we're going to have to make do. So I was thinking, there's more to running a smooth household than cooking and sewing and all that. There's feelings. There's family. There's a bunch of people under one roof who have to get along. And that's how I came up with the plan for the next couple of weeks. We're going to do some serious sharing and consciousness raising. Jessie nodded, pleased. Ms. McCracken was right on her wavelength. Daisy raised her hand. What's consciousness raising? She asked doubtfully. Do you need yeast? We weren't supposed to do leavened breads until May. Ms. McCracken let out a bark of a laugh. No yeast, Daisy, just honesty. She clasped her hands and leaned forward. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to explore our womanhood. We're going to get in touch with our feminine side and test our female power. Hey, wait a second, Walt Petronius said. I'm just here for an easy A, and I think I definitely flunk a womanhood quiz. Me too, Butch Henderson said. I don't have any female womanhood to get in touch with. Believe me. Sure you do, Butch, Ms. McCracken said. Hey, Butch said. If you were a guy, I'd... You see, Ms. McCracken said. Here you are, totally dependent on your masculine side. What you boys can do is get in touch with the feminine side in you. It will do you good, I promise. I don't know about this, Walt said. It sounds gross, Butch said. Who knows? It could be the easiest A you ever made, Miss McCracken said. Count me in, Walt said. It sure beats having to master Chicken Kiev. I never got an A, Butch muttered. But I'll tell you one thing. No way am I going to wear pink. Miss McCracken laughed. I wouldn't make you wear pink, Butch. Now that she had the boys on her side, Miss McCracken turned to the girls. Here's what I thought we'd do. First, the class will discuss female rituals. Maybe we can come up with some ideas for projects, and we'll split up into groups of 2 so that you'll have some up-close and personal interaction. Miss McCracken reached for the class list. Let me assign the groups before we start our discussion. Butch and Walt, you 2 deserve each other. Daisy and Melissa, Nanny and Lisa, Kelly and Jessie. What? Jessie blurted. Kelly raised her hand. Ms. McCracken, Jessie and I can't work together. Ms. McCracken looked over her paper at Kelly, then at Jessie. You can't? Why not? I thought you 2 were friends. We were, Jessie said, past tense. Kelly blushed. We're not really speaking, Miss McCracken. I see, said Miss McCracken slowly. Well, that's perfect. You 2 can work out your problems through a traditional female ritual. The project will be a bonding experience. But Miss McCracken, we can't, Jessie said. We can't even say pass the sugar to each other, Kelly said. This morning at the Mac's, my cereal tasted like cardboard. This class would be a perfect place for the 2 of you to iron out your differences, Miss McCracken said calmly. Ha! Iron out. Home ec. Get it? Jessie and Kelly didn't smile. They glared at each other. Why work out their problems when they enjoyed hating each other so much? But Miss McCracken had been firm. Even though she was hip, she was still a teacher. Help me out, class, Miss McCracken said. Can anyone name a female ritual Kelly and Jessie can work on together? Lisa raised her hand. Adornment? Perfect, Miss McCracken said. Very good, Lisa. Kelly, why don't you change seats with Nanny and go sit next to Jessie? The 2 of you can try to come up with a few ideas. Stiffly, Kelly rose from her seat and crossed the room to sit next to Jessie. While Ms. McCracken assigned the rest of the topics, the 2 girls conferred. So, what do you think we should do? Kelly asked. Kelly shrugged. I don't know. I guess we'll have to come up with something for us, Jessie said. Her tone implied that Kelly was too brainless to do so. But the topic is femininity, Jessie, Kelly said pointedly. Something you know very little about. Jessie glared at Kelly. Kelly glared back. How are you girls doing? Miss McCracken asked, coming over to them. Not very well, Miss McCracken, Kelly said honestly. Well, let's see if I can help. Kelly, is there something special you wanted to do with your appearance lately? Miss McCracken asked. Well, I have been thinking about doing something different with my hair, Kelly admitted. Super, Miss McCracken said. Jessie, can you help? Jessie can help you with a new hairstyle. The battery died. Now, where were we? Well, I am killing time. Something about a hairstyle. Where did it go? Where did it go? Super! Miss McCracken said. Jessie can help you with the new hairstyle. Jessie, how about you? Well, Jessie said grudgingly, I do need a costume for the masquerade ball at the country club. That's perfect, Miss McCracken enthused. Kelly can help you out with that. Okay, girls? You can both help each other to find new looks. Sound doable? I guess so, Kelly said. I suppose, Jessie said. Ms. McCracken walked off to help Walt and Butch figure out what nurturing was. Jessie and Kelly looked at each other. Well, when should we start? Kelly asked. This afternoon? I have a tennis date with Zach this afternoon, Jessie said. I'm not going to cancel that. That's okay, Kelly said. I have a date with Slater, too. How about tonight? Jessie nodded shortly. Fine. But listen, Just because we're working together, it doesn't mean we have to like it. Fine, Kelly said. It doesn't mean we have to talk to each other. Doesn't mean we even have to talk to each other. Fine, Jessie said. Kelly tossed her head. Fine. Mrs. McCracken came back over and beamed. You see? I knew you two girls could work things out. And coming up next, Chapter 5.